It's Tuesday, November 12, 2019. Coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, my Rockamore Cummings, the widow of Congressman Elijah Cummings, will join us to talk about her run for her late husband's congressional seat. Also, we have an update on the Rodney Reed execution case out of Texas. In San Francisco, their transit system, they've apologized to the black man arrested for eating while black. Tomorrow, the open impeachment hearings will start. Joining us here is Congresswoman Karen Bass, chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, to tell us what to expect. And guess what? Remember last week on this show when Melick said, "How dare we call Stephen Miller a white supremacist?" Leaked emails show that Stephen Miller has quite a thing for white supremacists. Can't wait to see Melick defend these emails. And a rally is being held tomorrow in Annapolis, Maryland at 1 p.m. to demand support for Maryland's 4 HBCUs. And in Alabama, police are trying to determine if the human remains they found belong to 5-year-old Taylor Williams of Jacksonville. Folks, it is time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the biz, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, y'all. It's Roland Martin, Rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now. Martin.
My Rockamore Cummings announced yesterday on Richard Maddow's show that she is running for the congressional seat vacated by her late husband, Congressman Elijah Cummings. She says she wants to continue the work that he started. Joining us right now on Roland Martin Unfiltered is Dr. Maya Rockamore Cummings. My, good to see you on the show.
Good to see you, Roland.
And certainly our condolences to you and the family for the passing of Congressman Cummings. He was a great friend of this show, and so I always enjoyed chatting with him and spending time with both of you. And so certainly it has been quite difficult the last few months for you and the family.
Yes, it really has. Really, the last few years, because, he's had a number of different health issues. But that being said, I just appreciate all the love and sympathy that we receive from people all over the country and certainly all over the world. And I certainly appreciate your condolences.
So you took some time. You said you were considering this, and you announced last night on Rachel Maddow that you were running for his seat. Was this something that the two of you discussed?
We did have a conversation about 6 months ago where he was contemplating his future, and he indicated that he thought that I should take his place. So that is something that did come up in our conversation.
And obviously you were chair, you've already resigned, but you were chair of the Maryland Democratic Party. And you also had a very brief period there, had announced you were running for governor in Maryland on the Democratic side, and then you also bowed out as well. Why pursue this position now?
So remember that I bowed out of the governor's race because Elijah got sick. And I was his primary caregiver, his supporter. And so I had to step out of the arena to do my first duty, which was to take care of my family. And so in terms of the Maryland Democratic Party, I had to avoid the appearance of any impropriety or any conflict of interest. As you well know, the Maryland Democratic Party is actually responsible for the voter files. And so, I didn't want anybody to claim that, in my role as party chair, I was somehow using it to my own advantage or against any of my opponents. So it was incredibly important that I actually stepped down from that role, given that particular conflict. So now I'm running. I'm running for the Maryland 7th Congressional District position. And I'm going to run hard, and I'm going to run well, and prayerfully, I'm going to win.
This is obviously Obviously, this is not the first time spouses, members of Congress, have actually run or even replaced them in the U.S. House or the United States Senate. What case will you make to the voters there in Baltimore that you are the best person to follow in the footsteps of your late husband?
Well, the fact of the matter is, as you well know, because you have seen me over the years, is that I have been fighting. I'm not new to this. When Elijah met me in 1998, I was already on the path of, fighting for social justice, working to strengthen the social safety net, working to make sure that health care was available to all. And I have a long track record of working on the federal level. I worked on the House Ways and Means Committee, Social Security Subcommittee. I was Mr. Rangel's, chief of staff. I am not new to the Hill. And I'm certainly not new to all of Congressman Cummings, the late Congressman Cummings' colleagues. I've testified on Capitol Hill on both the Senate side and the House side. I have a long track record of working across sectors to get things done. I led Leadership for Healthy Communities, which was a program focused on helping states and counties, cities and counties provide healthier opportunities for children. I brought the 10,000 Small Businesses Goldman Sachs program here to Baltimore because I understand the importance of small businesses, particularly for people of color and women. So I've just done a lot, and I roll up my sleeves and I get things done. And that is what I plan to do for the 7th Congressional District.
Obviously, it is going to be a crowded field already. Former Congressman Kwesi Mfume has announced that he's also seeking the position. And there are a number of others who also say they want the seat as well. So it is not going to be an easy road for you.
Yeah, this is democracy. And this is what I'm a political scientist, a PhD in political science. This is what democracy is about. People toss their hat into the ring and then they compete to actually convince the public who can best represent them. And so, I welcome the competition. I welcome the opportunity for people to see what democracy is all about. That being said, I do feel that I am the strongest candidate in the race, and I will be making my case to the people, and I hope to win.
One of the things that I found to be real interesting, and it is always weird when I see folks talking. Some folks saying that they felt like even last night that you were not showing grief, and that's weird to me because frankly people grieve differently. It's not like you've not been dealing with his illness in the past 6 months. We've texted several times, and this was something that was a battle for last half of the year. And so what do you say to those folks who somehow believe that you should be grieving his death and not running for office? What do you say to them?
I tell them that they don't know Congressman Cummings, because Congressman Cummings knew that, I fought right alongside of him. He expects me to continue the fight. And so the fact of the matter is that, I am seeking to continue the legacy, but also to build on it. Because this is about actually solving the problems that we face in the 7th Congressional District. It's about addressing the challenges that we're facing as a nation. And again, I do feel that I am the best person and best positioned to address that.
Earlier, you mentioned your history in public policy. First, for anybody who's watched any of my shows, you've been a frequent panelist on my shows on TV One as well. And so when you look at that, do you also want to make it clear to folks that this is not the case where you've seen other cases of the widow of someone passing and then members of people say, they should go ahead and fill the term, that frankly, you were actually Maya Rockamore for a long time before you even started using his last name, because it was about your own record. Because I was very surprised. Right. I was very surprised when I started seeing the last name, because for the longest we never even used your married name on the show.
That's exactly right. I was determined to keep my identity until I found out that nobody at church knew who Dr. Rocky Moore was. They only knew me as Mrs. Cummings. They didn't know my track record, history of working on policy issues around the country at the federal level, the work that I've done at the state and local levels. They didn't know any of that. And so what I found is I had a split identity. People knew me as Dr. Rocky Moore through my D.C. focused work. And then back at home in the district here in Baltimore, I was just Mrs. Cummings. So I had to bring my two identities together by actually making sure that I had Cummings on my name.
Well, it is certainly going to be quite an interesting race. We'll be watching it, and it certainly won't be the last time we talk. Before I let you go, tomorrow at 1 p.m., there's going to be a rally in Annapolis on behalf of the 4 HBCUs, trying to force Governor Larry Hogan to ante up. He's only offering $200 million when those HBCUs say they will settle for $577 million. Your thoughts on what the governor and what the Maryland legislature should do to settle this lawsuit that's been going on for 13 years when they've already lost, but they've appealed?
Right. I think the Black Caucus is doing the right thing. I think it's important to kind of raise the profile of this matter. It's been kind of bubbling underneath the surface, and people, I don't think, really understand it. But the case is, by the way, Elijah was a Howard grad. I'm a Prairie View A&M University grad. We care about HBCUs here in the city of Baltimore. Coppin and Morgan are huge. They produce our talent in the region.
And he was on the board. He was on the board of Morgan State, correct?
He's on the board of Morgan State. And so, we're big HBCU supporters. And I, as a Maryland Democratic Party chair, I came out in support of a resolution in favor of the HBCUs. So I continue to support this issue. I think it's important what the Congressional Black Caucus is doing here in the state of Maryland. And I support them elevating this on the public profile. I do think that Larry Hogan should pay up. And I do think that the HBCUs deserve it.
All right, Dr. Maya Rocky Moore Cummings, we appreciate it. Thanks so much. We'll be chatting further down the line.
Thanks for having me. Take care.
I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. I want to go to our panel now. Joining us, Melik Abdul, Republican strategist, Kelly Bethea, communication strategist. Also joining us is Rob Richardson, host, Disruption Now podcast. Dr. Jason Nichols, Department of African American Studies, University of Maryland. Kelly, I want to start with you. And it is no surprise. I kept telling everybody, it's no surprise at all that she was going to run for this seat. Saw this coming, expected it to happen. Your thoughts on her announcement?
I didn't. I definitely saw it coming. I didn't expect it to be on Rachel Maddow. I thought that was pretty interesting to see it on there. I just thought it was going to be announced via Baltimore circuits beforehand. But regardless, for those who are critiquing her running so soon after Congressman Cummings' passing, like she said, I don't think those people really knew the congressman all that well, because even in his passing, people who were eulogizing him were saying, like, on his deathbed, he was signing subpoenas. He was not a man to just, lie down, take whatever was coming to him, and let the chips fall where they may. He was a man of action, and it doesn't surprise me that his wife, who is accomplished, incredibly so in her own right, is in the same mindset as well. So kudos to her, and good luck.
Jason, you're there in Maryland. Obviously, this is going to be a huge field. And the point that she is making there, again, is that I'm not just Mrs. Cummings. There's a whole lot behind my name, under my name, above my name, and around my name, besides just being the wife of a late congressman.
No, absolutely. Dr. Rocky Moore Cummings. And I, like you, am not used to the Cummings part. I've always just called her Dr. Rocky Moore. She's incredibly accomplished. One of the reasons it took me a while to get here is because I'm coming from the 7th District. And I think that, she's got a strong argument for being the next congresswoman from that district, even without the great legacy of Congressman Cummings. And there are a lot of people that have tried to take shots at Congressman Cummings. He's still extremely popular in the district. He's done incredible things throughout his career. And, there is, of course, a legacy of issues in Baltimore, as there are in many cities. But Congressman Cummings, he is still a legend in that area. And I think Dr. Rocky Moore has done incredible things, and she's going to run on her own merits, not just on his name and on his legacy.
I want to go to you, Rob. What's interesting is this here. When you talk about this race, it is going to be high profile. Again, former Congressman Kwesi Mfume, former head of the NAACP. He is already jumping into the race. But also what's interesting is that with Donna Edwards no longer being in Congress and Senator Barbara Mikulski retiring, the Maryland delegation has no women. And so how do you think that might play during this election? Because also, frankly, whoever wins the Democratic primary is going to win.
Absolutely.
I know Kim Klachik is running on the Republican side. She ain't got no shot at all.
None.
Zero.
I mean, less than zero, but go ahead.
Yeah, all right. No, it's I think the first female coming out of this will matter, and I think it will be generational too, because she's younger too. So you look at nothing wrong with seasoned politicians, but I do think people sometimes want change and want someone that can bring a different perspective. So I think she played the right tone when she's saying, look, yes, I was there for my husband. We were a team, but I'm also going to bring my own legacy. I'm also going to bring my own vision. I also bring my own experience, and I think that's going to serve her well. So she will have the benefit of course, the Cummings name. But she also has the benefit of bringing her own ideas and being from a new generation.
Mel, like we know, Republicans ain't got no shot in this district.
I'm glad to see that Kimberly is running. I think that for any candidate, whether, I'm all for black candidates running all around the country. So despite the criticism that Kimberly may get, I'm glad that she's running.
Right, but she ain't got a shot.
Good.
And
She can run.
well, a lot of
Cool,
people
Kimberly
who,
running.
well, neither does
Go
Kamala Harris
run.
or Cory Booker. but
No,
they're
hold
running.
on, stop.
But they're
hold on.
running.
Hold on, stop.
What was that about Cory Booker? I didn't hear
Okay,
that.
I said
stop.
neither
Okay,
did them, but
stop.
they're running.
Hold on. Let's be real clear. There's a difference between somebody running for a Democratic nomination and then somebody who is running in an overwhelming, not even close Democratic district. I mean, that's sort of like saying if you're running in a district, if you're a Democrat running for Congress in Mo Brooks' seat in Alabama,
Well,
you ain't got no shot in that deep red
My
seat.
point is to reiterate that I'm glad that Kimberly is running and she's not waiting for someone to tell her that she can run.
All right, that's
as far
fine.
as Dr. Rockymore, it wasn't until probably last year that I realized she was actually married to Elijah Cummings, because she had never used the name, and I had always
to her credit,
associated the Rockymore to her, so she definitely can run her own merit. What I'm interested in seeing about the race is what the Democratic Party does, because if we remember when it was, who was that, Ben Carton, Kwesi Mfume ran against Ben Carton in 2004, 6, I can't remember what it was, and he did not have the backing of the Democratic Party. They went with Ben Carton. So I'm interested in.
Let's go back. First of all, he was running for a United States Senate seat against Ben Carton. That's one.
Yeah.
Two, you had an incumbent. So just like you had,
He wasn't an incumbent.
No. Just like you had in the case of in Massachusetts, when you had CBC members who actually supported the incumbent, even though Ayanna Pressley was running against him. So it's no surprise you have that. I doubt very seriously you're going to see, first of all, you're probably going to see anywhere from 7 to 10 people running.
The party can't get involved.
Right.
So hell, I doubt. I don't think you're going to see any party involved. I think what you're going to see is what then happens in terms of if there's a particular runoff. I got to pull up, Jason. I don't know if you know the rules there. Some places, whoever gets the most votes wins, or if there's actually a runoff there. But so I doubt very seriously any party gets involved in this primary.
Well, I don't mean the Democratic Party as the institution of the party. I mean the Democratic voters.
You couldn't tell.
Like Kwesi and
I don't think Kwesi Mfume has a shot.
Well,
of beating Maya Rockey.
and many people like you felt that the last time.
I wouldn't say
and he did
I wouldn't
not-
say that.
And he did
Not in
win.
today's day and age. Maybe.
No.
I wouldn't say that.
And
I don't think Kwesi
and that's why
Mfume
that's why I
has
brought up Kwesi
He
Mfume
has a
running
shot.
against Ben Carton
he has a
in 2004 or 6.
And Fumi's got a shot.
Yeah.
No, he definitely
And-
has a shot.
Kelly, go ahead.
And it-
Wait.
the drama
Wait, Kelly.
he had?
Wait, Kelly, then Jason.
What people forget about Baltimore is Baltimore votes based on who they know. And it almost doesn't matter what their record is. They will vote for who they know. That's why you have a lot of main names in Baltimore politics that have been there since what feels like the dawn of time, who have a plethora of things that are controversial about them, but they're still in office. Why? Because Baltimore, to me, it's local politics. And Baltimore is really, if you think about it, just a small town that's big.
Yeah.
And that's how they treat their politics as well. So with the Cummings name, definitely it'll help her. But again, people don't know her as Cummings. They know her as Rockymore.
So
that's going to be a
So
challenge.
Jason,
for her
why
as
do you
well.
say drama around him while he has no shot?
Yeah, I just don't. I think.
Based on what?
His profile was much higher, maybe 10, 15 years ago. His profile is not very high anymore. I
But
disagree.
The people are
I also
voting who
disagree.
are from 10, 15 years ago. Those are the people who are going to be voting.
And I also disagree what you said about Baltimore just votes who they know. I disagree with that. I think, if that were the case, Sheila Dixon would have won the mayor's election. Also, you have to remember the 7th district also includes...
Wait. I'm going to let you finish. But you said if that was the case, Sheila Dixon would have won. It's not like she was running against a nobody. She was running against a state senator.
Yeah.
So she was running against somebody who was also well known.
Those are two
she
huge names.
she wasn't well known in the city like Sheila Dixon.
What are you talking about?
Sheila Dixon's name was far
What are you
bigger
talking
than
about?
the city.
And out of Dixon and the person who beat her, which one had to resign for using gift cards?
Yeah, Catherine Pugh ended up having to resign too.
Right, but my point is to act like Catherine Pugh was not known. No, you had two well-known figures.
I'm not saying she's nobody.
Okay, but bottom line,
her profile was not nearly as large as Sheila Dixon in the city.
Now, can I just say,
you finished.
No, well, I was just gonna say in terms of all right, now I forgot what I was going to say. Go ahead.
So what I was getting ready to say is that I think that Mfume has a better chance winning the congressional seat because of what you were saying about local politics. I don't think he's going to win, but I think that he has a better shot at winning than he did the Senate seat, which was...
Well,
the names that I've been seeing popping up on, Baltimore's news and other people that I know who are in Baltimore politics, like those names are strong in Baltimore City. So you got Jill Carter, you got Mfume, you've got now Rocky Moore Cummings, and there's a couple others. Like those are strong names. Just because we in D.C. don't know those names does not mean that they do not carry weight in Baltimore. So you have to keep that in mind.
Look, we also have to remember that that's part of Howard County, part of Baltimore County.
Exactly.
It's not just Baltimore City.
Here's again what you're going to find. You're going to find a race with a number of people who are running. You're going to have all different kind of factors coming in. You're going to have a factor coming in terms of Maya Rockmore, in terms of her age, in terms of her gender. You're going to have the case of Mfume, who's 71 years old. Folks are going to say, hey, do we need younger leadership in that particular position? You're going to have a question in terms of, yes, public policy experience. You're going to have all of that. But here's the other thing. I'm hearing out of Baltimore that Nick Mosby is looking at that seat.
Yeah.
That Marilyn Mosby is looking at that seat. There are other people who look at. So again, you're going to have. Look, the bottom line is this here: in a place like Baltimore, you're going to have, for a congressional seat, a lot of people angling for those. Remember, Cummings could have easily won that United States Senate seat, and many of us, he could have easily won. He was blown. I mean, he was way ahead in the polls. Well, but see, now that we know, obviously, with his illness, because when he didn't run, I remember talking to him backstage at CBC. I think it was in 2014 or 15, one of those years when I was moderating the town hall, when he was, and I was like, dude, okay, the reason you giving me for why you're not running ain't making no sense to me. I mean, it just made no sense, okay? Right. And he kept his health issues very close to the vest. Now we understand that was the reason why he did not run for the United States Senate. Right. Okay, but again, I think it's going to be a fascinating race, and so we will certainly be watching it. And then now we'll see who else jumps into the race as well. So trust me, there'll be more names who are coming in. All right, folks, got to go to a break. We come back now. We're going to talk about HBCU rally taking place in Maryland tomorrow. Also, we'll be dealing with, of course, impeachment. The public hearings starting. Don't you know Republicans are not happy to have to go through this, because they're going to have to defend the lying Trump administration. That's next on Roland Martin Unfiltered. You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it. Hey, folks, as the momentum around marijuana grows around the country, the folks at marijuanastock.org have already reached more than half of their funding goal for their hemp CBD investment. That's right. If you want to take advantage of this great opportunity, you need to do it now because it won't last much longer. If you don't know, I'm talking about the hemp plant, the good cousin to marijuana, with a much higher concentration of CBD. That means hemp gives you all the medical benefits of marijuana without getting you high. Also, if you don't know, hemp farming is now legal in the United States, creating one of the largest commodities worldwide. Folks, it's an incredible investment opportunity, and that's where the folks at 420 Real Estate come in. Their business model is simple. They buy land that supports hemp CBD grow operations and lease it to high-paying tenants. That's right, they are hemp CBD landlords, and you can get in on the action. Of course, as hemp continues to change the economic landscape, 420 Real Estate is allowing you to chase the American dream. The best part is right now you can invest in this crowdfunding campaign for as little as $200. That's right, $200 up to $10,000. Do it now before the fund is closed. To invest, go to marijuanastock.org. That's marijuanastock.org. Get in the game and get in the game now. Folks, the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals handed down an order just past noon Tuesday, giving Rodney Reed's attorney and 3 judges involved in the case the opportunity to issue written responses to motions Reed's legal team filed. Attorneys from the Innocence Project say Harris County DA Judge Doug Shaver had no judicial authority over the case when he signed the execution order in July of this year. Now, Reed is scheduled to be executed next week, next Wednesday, for the murder of Stacy Stites in Bastrop more than 20 years ago. We'll certainly keep you updated on this case. All right, folks, let's also go to this story out of the Bay Area. Yesterday, we told you about the black man who was waiting to catch a train to work. He was handcuffed and cited for eating a breakfast sandwich on a train station platform in California. Well, the backlash prompted the Bay Area Rapid Transit General Manager Bob Powers to issue an apology, saying that while the officer who stopped and detained the man was doing his job, he was disappointed with how the situation unfolded. Now, do we have the video? We have the video. Go ahead and roll it. Because for many of you may not have seen the video, it actually makes no sense whatsoever as his brother was detained. I mean, it was really going to pound him. I'm going to pull the video up in a second. It was really silly, the fact that, okay, yes, if you got a rule, tell you, look, you can't eat on train stations, okay, got it. But essentially, he rolled up on the dude and created a much larger situation.
It was harassment. Yeah. That's, I mean, it's no ifs, ands, and
So there's some people who haven't seen it, so go ahead and roll the video, so then we'll talk about it.
Bro, let my shit go. You are detained and you're not free to go. That's part of that. Bro, you came up here and fucked with me. You singled me out of all these people.
You're eating.
Bro, so what?
It's against the law.
So what?
I tried
It'll be done before I can on work. Let my shit go.
It's a violation of California law.
Bro,
I have the right to detain you.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
Can you please let my backpack go?
Are you going to cooperate?
Yeah,
So you cooperating, leave me the fuck alone?
You're going to go into jail.
I'm not going to jail for eating a fucking sandwich.
No, for resisting arrest.
I'm not resisting arrest.
You are resisting
I haven't done anything
right
wrong. I haven't done nothing wrong. I've done nothing wrong.
You can argue that
I've done
with me.
nothing wrong. Let my bag go.
Just let.
Let my bag go, bro. What are you, bro? What is this nigga doing,
Yeah,
bro?
we got
Let
a
my
guy eating
bag
on the
go.
platform is uncooperative. Somebody's got to eat.
Bro, bring him up here then.
Stop.
I'm
Just
not
stop.
doing nothing. I'm gonna
Just
continue
stop.
my sandwich, bro. I do this shit every fucking morning. Every morning, bro. Let my bag go.
Yeah, why is there a store downstairs selling food if we're not allowed to eat up here?
Why is there a store downstairs?
And does it not say on, there's no signs here that mark that we can't eat on the platform? Where is there a sign up here that says we can't eat on the platform? Where is there a sign up here? Where is there a sign up here, sir? Excuse me. Where is a sign up here that says that we can't eat on the platform? We know that we can't eat on the train.
People come up here and eat every
But where?
fucking day,
Where is
drinking
there a sign
coffee and
that
all that
says
shit.
that?
Let my bag go, bro.
Is there a chance
You ain't got no, bro. You ain't got no, bro. You ain't got no reasonable cause to fuck with
Is there a
me,
chance you could allow me to talk?
bro. Let go of my bag.
You are detained and you're not free to go.
Stop.
I'm not
Okay,
detained.
you're
I
gonna
haven't
end
done
up going
nothing
to jail.
wrong. I've done nothing wrong.
You are detained.
Stop.
Single
Okay?
me out.
You're
For
under
what?
arrest to go into
For
jail,
what?
my man.
Detained for what?
For eating. It's illegal. It's a
Stop.
violation of
Stop.
California law.
Stop.
I've already said that. Yeah.
I do this shit every morning, bro. Watch out.
Just trying to go to
Come
work.
up here every
Just
fucking
trying to
morning
go to work, eating a
drinking coffee,
sandwich
bro. You can't
at
sell
8
me
o'clock
out.
in the morning.
Bro, let my bag go.
Okay, now here's what was crazy. The woman says, show me the sign. Then the officer, all of a sudden, again, this is a perfect example of how police officers must learn how to de-escalate.
Yes.
That's a simple conversation. Sir, I just want you to understand. Nothing's gonna happen, but you can't eat on the train. Yeah. If you can't eat even on the platform, it's a way you approach that. But far too many officers in situations like this here, they know their power, they know the law, they know the moment you say no or you pull up, you're being detained. He tried to say he was resisting. That's the go-to line every time a cop does something, Kelly. Every time.
It just makes absolutely no sense to me. And I keep saying this on your show, but I have to reiterate it every time I see a video like this. If you cannot be in a client-facing job such that you have to treat everyone a certain way equally and equitably, you shouldn't have that job. Like, this person wasn't doing anything. There were no signs saying don't eat. It doesn't make sense to say don't eat on the platform. It makes sense to say don't eat on the train. And there are receptacles around. Like, I've been to a station like that. I've been in the Bay Area, and there are receptacles everywhere for trash when you eat, and you throw it away and you get on the train. I don't understand why that early in the morning, this man just felt like, oh, let me just grab this man's bag and hold him up from eating breakfast on his way to work.
Well, I can easily tell you why, because there's a culture in this country that's been going on for about 30 or 40 years that has given so much power to police officers that has taken away individual powers to people. And I respect officers and the job they have to do. However, you know, it's been such that, you know, officers are allowed to just assume you're doing something wrong. Like, honestly said, you know, you don't have any reasonable suspicion. He doesn't even need it anymore because Supreme Court, conservative Supreme Court justices, I should say, have pulled back all the rights of the Fourth Amendment. You might, which means that you're supposed to be free from unreasonable search and seizures. I think you eating there has no valid reason for you to be pulled over to say you were doing something major other than eating. But in this country right now, officers can do what's called a pretext, meaning you can make up any other reason. Everybody is going to violate some law at some point because there's thousands of them everywhere. And so an officer can just pick from one and just say you were doing that, resisting arrest, and then find reason to arrest you. You know, we have a problem. We're not, you know, we don't believe in freedom in this country for all people, particularly when it comes to people of color. Because otherwise the Fourth Amendment would apply equally. I guarantee you, Roland, if the law was being applied this way in the richest neighborhoods in the country that weren't neighborhoods of color, Fourth Amendment would be upheld completely. It would be there. But since it's being done to black and brown communities, people are just okay with it.
It's just basic. And first of all, look, the apologies because they know they look like some damn fools.
Absolutely. You can't detain somebody for a sandwich. Like, he didn't, suspect that there was a gun. He didn't, it was over a sandwich. That's an easy conversation, like you stated. Walk up to the guy, say, look, in the future, please don't eat on the platform, and they'll say, where's the sign? Be like, look, I'm just the guy who enforces certain things. Maybe go back and talk to your superiors about putting a sign up. Because to me, that doesn't make any sense that that's a rule and you can't see that it's a rule. Again, I would have eaten there. I would have
pure BS.
I would have nibbled on the train. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are things, if I can't do it, you need to make me aware.
But at the end of the day, you simply can just say, hey, because we want to give you a warning. You can't eat on the train. Can't eat on the platform.
Is there no drinking?
You don't.
Like, honestly, can you drink a coffee?
Go.
So to just a couple of points, it's probably illegal to drink or have food, eat food within the system. I know that's the case here in D.C.
But to the woman's point, on the platform, does it mean platform in the station, on the train?
I think in D.C. it's throughout the entire system. Even if you're on the platform, if you're on the train, I think it's illegal. What the officer did, he did what he did because he could, and it was harassment. Now, I'm sure they've seen many people before eat things on the train. He didn't have to detain him. And then the look of him holding his bag, it's like something like a child almost. Yeah. He's sitting holding his bag where he's saying, no, dude, bro,
and then explain to the judge. Explain to the judge. It's like,
and
they're
going to laugh that off.
And it could get even worse. Look, the Sandra Bland case was an example of this, but it was taken to another level.
Yes.
She did nothing but she turned her signal and slowed down. She slowed down.
And actually, that didn't happen.
Right.
That didn't happen. He followed her waiting for her to do something.
Exactly.
And because he was behind her for such a long period of time,
yes.
she got over and he claimed
correct.
illegal lane
But
change.
the point is well stated, but like they can make up any reasons. The point here, and this is why I want to tell people, it's really important to understand why it's important to vote in elections, why Supreme Court justices matter, because these rulings have pulled it back where police have so much power that it doesn't matter. So people need to know this is why it matters. Don't tell me it doesn't vote. Don't tell me your vote doesn't matter.
All right, y'all. Tomorrow is the beginning of the first public hearings in the House impeachment inquiry of Donald Trump. Now, of course, all this started really with that phone call to Ukraine, where Donald Trump claims it was a perfect call. It was perfect. But then we have a whistleblower who says, no, Donald Trump literally asked a foreign government to investigate a political rival. Republicans have tried their best to cut this down. They've called it crazy. They've called it outlandish. They've called it made up. They've called it a coup. Now their new defense is, okay, yeah, it was quid pro quo, but because he wasn't smart enough to follow through with it, it really didn't happen. I don't really know how that one's gonna fly. Now we got the Roger Stone case out of Florida, where we now know that one of the Trump folks testified that yes, that Roger Stone gave the Trump people a heads up about WikiLeaks doing an email dump as well. Ooh, so many things just coming out. And then Trump has been on a tirade on social media, angered by all of this, by trying to blast Adam Schiff. And Republicans say, well, no, Schiff should testify. And Hunter Biden should testify. Really, y'all? Joining us right now is Congresswoman Karen Bass. She's a California chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. Congresswoman, clearly having these public hearings, the public will now actually get to hear testimony that has been happening behind closed doors. How critical is that?
Well, I think it's going to be very, very significant. You know, I have seen the testimony of several of these witnesses in the classified hearing room. And, you know, we had to do it that way first because we didn't want people matching their testimony and all of that like a grand jury. And so for people to hear from their mouths, now all the information is out there, so it's not like you're going to hear something tomorrow that's going to be shocking. But to see this man whose career is impeccable, to hear essentially him saying, in all the years that I have been in the military, been in foreign service, no one has ever asked that military aid be withheld from a country at war, under attack, while a president takes care of my campaign in the future. And you know what I think is so different, Roland, is that the Mueller report is about what Trump did in the past. The Ukraine incident and everything that's happening now is about the president trying to throw the next election. So it's about his criminal activity in process. And that is profoundly different than what we had been looking at before.
You have folks like Congressman Mark Meadows that they plan to try to scuttle as much of this as possible. You have Congressman Jim Jordan, who needs to be answering for his own involvement or knowledge when it comes to sexual allegations coming out of Ohio involving a wrestling team he was a coach of. You know, they're trying to throw as much dirt on this as possible, but they've also been lying. You've had folks like Matt Gaetz, who's been running out there, congressman, from Florida, saying, oh, Republicans have been denied an opportunity. They haven't had any due process, but they've been in the room. They've actually been asking questions.
But you know what? Their questions have been really interesting because they really don't have anything to say. I mean, I stayed there and watched their questioning, and I thought they were going to try to tear apart the witnesses' testimony, and they really didn't. So they were asking questions more about the process. They don't have anything to say substantively. The thing that the Republicans do, like you just said a minute ago, is that they lie and they will adopt whatever language you're using. So if you say the president robbed a bank, well, they'll say, well, Biden robbed a bank. And so everything becomes equal. But there is no equality here in terms of anything you think Biden might have done versus what Trump was doing. I mean, Trump essentially tried to bribe a president. he tried to bribe a president by saying, unless you go public, and he was specific, you got to get on CNN, and you have to tell the CNN audience that Hunter Biden and Joe Biden were involved in corruption, and I am going to initiate an investigation. That's what they told the president he had to do in order to save his people who were under military attack. But then they say, well, you know what? Barack Obama wouldn't give him the weapons. Barack Obama held the weapons back. So everything becomes equal. And that's the confusion that they spread. And because they have a TV network that helps spread that confusion, people become very confused, which is why that's another reason why it's so important that these witnesses are coming forward tomorrow. And, you know, given that I work overseas a lot, you know that, Roland, I think people in the State Department, they've had enough. They're tired of being disrespected. They're tired of being maligned. And they've just decided they've had enough. They're not going to just sit in silence. They're going to tell what they know. So the testimony tomorrow and the testimony Friday is going to be extremely important.
All right, Congresswoman Karen Bass, we surely appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to our panel. Melik, your boys got some explaining to do.
Well, let's be honest here. Since I've been following politics, and probably I'm sure it's the case for all of us here, I've yet to see an instance where the opposing party, the party on the other side, if you will, have been supportive, have been, haven't had questions, haven't felt that the process was fair or anything.
I'm sorry, what process?
The process that the Congresswoman was just talking about.
I'm sorry, you mean the impeachment process?
The impeachment.
It's only happened 3 times in history.
Well, but we've had hearings before.
No.
But we're still talking about a hearing.
No, hold up. There's a difference between, first of all, there are hearings every day.
Right.
First of all, as part of Congress's job,
right,
all the committees have hearings.
Right.
There's a difference between hearings and an impeachment hearing. You're talking about Andrew Johnson. You're talking about Richard Nixon. You're talking about Bill Clinton.
Okay.
So, 3. So there have been 3 impeachment hearings in the history of the country.
Right. So, Roland,
an impeachment hearing is at a whole different level. So this is not like a hearing on climate change.
Well, that's what we've been told, though.
No, we haven't.
Well, that's what you've been told.
But no, that's not. That's literally not.
I'm sorry, who's we?
Democrats, since this has been going on, and the Republicans have been complaining about the process, Democrats have talked about that they followed the same process that has existed for every other hearing.
Actually,
Democrats have said that they followed the same process.
But the current rules in terms of hearings,
right?
Of course, secret hearings, okay, like in this case here. The rules were written by Republicans.
Yeah.
So Republicans are now complaining about the very rules that they wrote?
Well, of course they are. I mean, that's what which goes to my point that I was saying. The notion that somehow.
So they're hypocritical?
Well, sure they are.
But here's the whole.
But that's not something that's uncommon.
No. First of all, here's the deal. Here's the deal. Here's the deal. I don't waste my time with the bullshit process. Okay, because the bullshit process conversation is bullshit for a reason. Okay,
well, it
no, it's not.
Yes,
because
it is.
No. See, here's the deal. When you go to the bullshit process defense, that means you have none. The question here is for your party. What are you going to do when you have Trump loyalists who are going to go before the hearing publicly and say, yes, this happened. Yes, it was a problem. And on the other hand, you've got Trump saying, read the transcript. And first of all, it's not the actual transcript. It was notes from a transcript. So how are you going to defend him lying, saying this happened, when you're going to have witnesses who were on the call say, that didn't happen. This would really happen. He did say. You now have the Department of Defense testifying that they were told, don't release the money until this happens.
Well, 2 points. I don't know if everyone who's testified are actual Trump loyalists. I know they work in the administration.
I'm sorry. Hold on. If you are an ambassador and you gave $1 million and then you appointed the ambassador, you're a Trump loyalist.
I mean, well, that's okay. Well, that's your version of it. But on the second,
That's my version of it, right? Hold on. I don't know anybody who drops a cool million just for the hell of it.
But on the second
Sondland
point,
is definitely a
but
Trump
on
loyalist.
the second point that I was,
Almost
that I
all
was-
of them are Trump loyalists.
But
They're appointed by Trump.
But Sondland
they were
is
appointed
If
by
I'm
definitely
allowed to
Trump.
actually finish my point.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
What I was saying is on the second point, the notes that people have been criticizing, which is ironic, we're talking about hypocrisy. The notes that people have been criticizing, they were a compilation from 4 different people who had access to the conversation, and then what they do, they pull their notes together, and then they come out with a transcript. It is the very same process that has existed well before Donald Trump. So my point when I'm talking about hypocrisy, this is what I mean. It's the same process. But people are saying that. But people are saying that. This is different because it's not the full transcript.
The difference here is the guy who was on the call is lying about the call.
Well,
Rob,
the person on the other side of the call
Kelly, the
said
real
that he
deal is
did
this
no
here, Kelly.
quid pro quo.
Kelly, the real deal is here. The dude who made the call is lying. And he's lying. And first of all, the dude who made the call is a known liar who's lied about a whole lot over and over and over again. So he don't get the benefit of the doubt when you've been lying your ass off for almost 3 years. Kelly, go ahead.
Well, I mean, you're right in that regard, but to the Congresswoman Bass's point about how the Republicans are trying to equate the process of hearings passed with an impeachment inquiry, I feel like you just kind of said exactly what her point is. You're trying to make this an even playing field in terms of what's about to happen tomorrow versus what has happened in the past. But the fact of the matter is what's going to happen tomorrow, while it may look that way, just on its face, it's not going to be what has happened in the past because this has never happened before. So that was the Congresswoman's point. It's like a hearing is not just a hearing. It's not like a hearing is a hearing is a hearing. No, every hearing has a different context. Every hearing has a different purpose. And right now, we are in a hearing, in a situation where this hearing is going to, frankly, be unprecedented. So we can't, look to history, unfortunately.
But that's what Democrats have been
Rob, go ahead. Rob, go ahead.
Look, this is very quickly. So, a couple points. Number one, this line is not normal type of line. In Trump world line, it's nighttime right now, and Trump would tell you it's sunny outside, and everybody say it's sunny, it's sunny, it's sunny. Like there's no
and
foundation.
the whole Republican Party will fall in line.
Everybody's
no, really, it's sunny.
It is.
But Rob, go ahead.
No, they won't. I say all the parties. No, they won't.
Oh, God, hell, man.
There are cowards right now in the Republican Party. There are cowards and traitors. We have never seen a case where you have a president that is basically extorted, committed bribery, and I think committed treason. We have not seen that. We have not seen that happen. We have to go through a process to lock him up and to make sure he goes that he's held accountable. And listen, he is treasonous. Like he extorted this money. He tried to extort this money in order to advance his interests. And the reason why Americans and everybody needs to be worried is because he can do that to you. He can do that to you. He can do that to you. And if everybody says that's okay, and look, no, they can't. Everybody's not the president. Everybody's not the president.
He hasn't done anything.
Yes, Jason, here's the reality. First of all,
you want to wait?
Rob. That's a sideshow. He wants you to chase that. No. That's a side. No. Melon, your argument is a sideshow, and you want us to chase the rabbit down the foxhole. We're not. Jason, here's the whole deal. Jason, here's the whole deal. Jason, here's the whole deal. What it boils down to. What it boils down to is here, Jason. If Trump didn't lie, if Trump did not say to Ukraine, investigate Joe Biden, my political rival, we're not at this point. But the reality is he did. And we know for a fact, he lied. What about, oh no, I didn't want to fire James Comey. You lied. He lied when he said, no, I didn't order my White House counsel to fire him. He lied. He asked Corey Lewandowski to deliver the message. He has lied repeatedly.
He's lied about lying.
What he did was, he kept pushing the envelope. And the problem here was it got reported. Now the New York Times is reporting that Donald Trump has had conversations because he now wants to fire the CIA Inspector General who reported the whistleblower's complaint. Why? Because he does it. He wants payback to anybody who dared to do what's right.
You know, it's scary, actually. I think that's one of the scariest things. You know, you've seen, if you've been following any of the right-wing people on Twitter, they've been trying to out the whistleblower. They've been saying who he is and all these kinds of things, knowing that he will get death threats and that, you know, his safety and his family will be in danger, and that there are rules and laws that protect whistleblowers. This is a really scary thing, and Donald Trump, even though he's not a gangster, he's a guy who was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, he's acting like a gangster. He's the most dangerous kind of person.
I would venture to say that he's a gangster.
No, I don't, you know.
I would venture to say that if you knew, like, the history of how he got his money, like how his father...
He's Fredo Corleone. He's not Michael.
I mean, but Fredo was a gangster. He was a bad one, but he was still a gangster.
Okay, fair enough.
This is like a liberal den.
Actually, what it is, people here, Malik, have actually read the Constitution.
Yeah.
People here,
well, I have too.
People here,
I have too.
Well, guess what? Clearly, Trump has it.
Well,
and people here, understand what the rule of law is, and your party loves talking about the rule of law, but then they want to ignore the rule of law when it benefits. But since you want to speak, Jason.
We're not talking about a lot of things that we continue to talk
Jason,
about.
that's called chasing that rabbit hole. That's all it is. And guess what? It ain't gonna happen. But I do want to bring this up, y'all. I do want to bring this up. Leading up to the 2016 election, White House senior policy advisor Stephen Miller promoted white nationalist literature, pushed racist immigration stories, and I've said I'm done with that damn story, Malik. I'm doing something else. So stop talking about the other story. So here we go. Actually, on the TV show, when you discussing the next show story, you finish talking about the other story. But we talked to Stephen Miller, y'all, promoted white nationalist literature, pushed racist immigration stories, and obsessed over the loss of Confederate symbols after Dylann Roof's murderous rampage, according to leaked emails reviewed by Hate Watch. The emails, which Miller sent to the conservative website Breitbart News in 2015-2016, showcase the extremist anti-immigrant ideology that he has helped create as an architect of Donald Trump's presidency. Do y'all recall this discussion last week?
No.
Explain who Stephen Miller is.
Stephen Miller works in the White House. He's the person who's actually crafting the immigration policy for President Trump.
Hold up, not just immigration.
Oh, yeah, not just immigration.
So if you're going to ask me why I don't put them in the same box, I've never liked anything about Richard Spencer. I've never liked anything about Milo. You can disagree with some policies that Stephen Miller is advocating while he's in the White House, but from my perspective, Stephen Miller is not that racist, is not that white supremacist.
So have you taken a look at what's going on the border? Stephen Miller on tape doing this.
But what's the racist policy that you're talking about on the border?
We don't have time for that.
But that's what I'm saying. So if you're going to ask me why I don't put them in the same bag, I'm saying you can disagree with policies that are going on at the border without calling someone
separating families,
without
all that.
But how is that racist though?
I'm about to sip some tea. Again,
smoking a joint.
I really did.
I thought you were advertising the hip.
I'm sipping some tea.
Marijuana stop.
Again, according to leaked emails, White House senior policy advisor Stephen Miller, the same one we were discussing right there, promoted white nationalist literature, pushed racist immigration stories, and obsessed over the loss of Confederate symbols after Dylann Roof killed 9 black people in a church in South Carolina. The emails also show Stephen Miller with extremist anti-immigrant ideology in the emails. Malik, what you got to say now?
Well, as I said last week, and I'll say again today, I draw a distinction when we're talking about actual policy. I think we just saw the clip, and the question was, well, is the border family separation, is that a racist policy?
Is Stephen Miller white supremacist?
Stephen Miller has to answer for.
No, I'm asking you.
Stephen Miller.
No, Jason. I'm asking you. Is Stephen Miller white supremacist?
Well, I don't classify him as a white supremacist.
So what? So how the hell do you classify these emails?
Stephen Miller was pitching stories to Breitbart or whatever.
It's Breitbart.
It's Breitbart.
Stephen Miller was pitching stories to Breitbart. That's something that he has to answer for himself.
No, I'm asking. I'm asking you.
No, I don't think that Stephen Miller is a white supremacist.
So what is he?
No, I don't think that Stephen.
What is he?
Well, I don't know what he is, but I don't think he's a white supremacist. If we're talking about actual policy.
Is he racist?
No. Hold up. Okay, let me read again, just in case you missed it. He promoted white nationalist literature.
He pushed
racist immigration stories and obsessed over the loss of Confederate symbols after Dylann Roof killed 9 black people.
Well,
so now, with that, how would you classify Stephen Miller?
As someone ignorant, as someone did some stupid things.
Jason, go ahead, Jason. Jason, go ahead. Jason, go ahead.
I mean, if you looked at the Southern Poverty Law Center and the stuff that came out, and a woman who is now rejecting her past racism is saying
a self-described white nationalist.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
She was simpatico with Stephen Miller. She says that Stephen Miller was a racist and is a racist, that his policy was based on things that he read from, that were anti-Muslim, that were anti-immigrant, things that were based on Mein Kampf. All these things are actually how he's shaping his policy and reflected in his worldview. And I understand, I understand you want to protect the image of your party. I get that. But why?
You understand something that's not true.
But last week, okay, so I don't know who you want to protect then, but last week you were pretty sure that you were saying, I don't think Stephen Miller is a racist.
And I repeated that today.
And that's problematic when you have the evidence.
Well, I just say
I don't get it.
I just say very quickly, so the issue I find is that racists get more offended with being called racist than racist behavior. They're okay with the racist behavior, but they get offended when you call them racist. Own it. This is racist. When you treat people and you dehumanize them as racist. When President Trump came out and when that woman was killed in Charlottesville to say both sides are equal, when one's the KKK, the other one's protesting hate, that's racist.
But that's that's
exactly what he said. And then when he came out,
that's what
when the people from Bahamas
characterized.
Can I go ahead and read this? Because just in case Melik is still confused.
Yeah.
Go to my iPad. Stephen Miller's name also has appeared on American Renaissance as an author. On July 19, 2005, the white nationalist website republished a piece he wrote for the right-wing online publication Front Page Magazine called Santa Monica's High's Multicultural Fistfights regarding his high school alma mater. American Renaissance commonly republishes stories from other publications that fit into its racist agenda. Hate Watch reached out to American Renaissance for a comment twice about Miller's post, how Miller's post came to appear on his website, but did not receive any reply. In the article, Miller blames the left for a variety of problems in the nation's schools, including excusing Black and Hispanic misbehavior by holding those students to a lower standard. So Melik, if he has got some work that's being run on a white nationalist website, what makes it so appealing to a white nationalist website? So is it what?
I've never read it. I don't know.
Oh, you never. So
why would I go to a white nationalist website?
But the fact that so you don't think that if somebody has something
that's the problem.
No, but if somebody has written something, but you still say he's not a white nationalist.
That's not a problem. But
no. Answer my question. Is it?
He's
it's a problem.
Policy.
But you haven't been able to link that white supremacy, that
racism. My God.
You read the same thing I did.
Malik.
It's in the.
You're not going to be able to convince me that family separation
I know I'm not going to be able to convince you.
Well, of course you are.
What about letting kids die? What about letting kids die?
What do you mean letting kids die?
Kids have died. Wait, time out. You're asking a question.
Let kids die.
It happened. There was a woman, it happened on Mother's Day about a year ago. Her name was Maria. I can't remember the kid's name. They didn't give they didn't give her medical help. She died. That's happened several times.
Okay, but is that a function of Stephen Miller?
That's a function.
That's a function
God.
of racism.
It's
Oh
a function
my
of
God.
racism.
Wait a minute. So you're saying that
It's the
our
humanization.
federal government is purposely killing people and letting
negligence.
people die?
Yeah! Where in the hell have you been for the past 18 months?
I forget time and time again that I'm in the seat of.
Are you saying this didn't?
bastion of
No,
liberty.
You're in the
this-
seat of facts.
That's what
It didn't happen.
Kelly, go ahead. Kelly, go ahead. Kelly, go
The
ahead.
government
Kelly,
is allowing
Kelly,
people
go
to
ahead.
die at the border because
Well, believe
they're
what you want to
racist.
believe, but we got
Kelly, go ahead.
Well, that's your opinion. That's
No,
your,
we got-
Kelly, go
that's
ahead.
your opinion that it was
It
racist.
happened.
Kelly,
yes,
go
the
ahead.
person died,
Kelly,
but it's not racist.
Kelly, go.
What I find interesting here, Malik, is when we saw the video of the police officer with the young man trying to pull his bag, you straight up said that he was prejudiced and that it was wrong.
I didn't say he was prejudiced. I said that he was wrong.
Oh, well, that he was wrong. For whatever reason, he was wrong. You can see that behavior and you can see that it's wrong. Multiple other videos, I've been on this panel with you, similar stories, similar outcomes. You can point out and say, this cop is wrong, or that barbecue Becky is wrong, or that person is doing whatever. Or if the Democrats do something negligent, you're quick to point out that they are negligent, that they are doing something wrong. Stephen Miller has 900 emails reflecting his racist views, ideologies, and behavior. And you still won't say that he's wrong.
Well, I know. I said that he should be held to account for what he said, in that he has to.
I did not hear you say that.
I specifically asked you.
Yeah, like what's racist?
No,
to you?
and I,
Okay, so let me ask you a series of questions.
No,
Melik, do you believe any of these 900 emails show racism by Stephen Miller?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you believe that Stephen Miller is a racist?
No, I can't say that.
I'm not done. Do you believe that Stephen Miller is spouting white nationalist, white supremacist points of view?
Well, according to what we saw from
these are not. These are 900
2016,
emails. I'm asking you.
According to what we read on the Southern Poverty Law Center website, yes, he has.
So do you believe that if he is spouting white nationalist, white supremacist views, that he is a white nationalist, white supremacist?
I don't know. And the reason that I don't know is because I think that it's a much layered discussion than what we have. So if someone,
how many layers is it?
Because when we're
Is it a 2-layer cake, a 3-layer cake,
for me,
a 5-layer cake? What is it?
If I'm going to say that this person is racist, this person is an anti-Semite, this person is homophobic or whatever, because we have that in our own community, I need to be able to attach it to some sort of policy.
I'm sorry, we have what in our community?
Well, not just the black
So
community.
you're saying they can say racist things, but they don't prove it in your policy, it's okay?
Well, I believe that people can say
it's
racist
in the
things without
policy.
being racist. I believe that people can say anti-Semitic things,
ending TPS.
homophobic things without being homophobe. I absolutely do.
Jason, go ahead.
So
go on before I go to a break.
lowering the threshold for refugees, ending TPS for black and brown nations, not to mention the things that the president has stated, and family separation mainly for people coming from brown and black nations, not for people who are coming from European nations. We haven't heard any stories of that, and the Human Health and Human Services said themselves that this caused lasting damage to these children. And you don't think that there is any kind of racial tie, so someone has to call you a nigger in order for it to be racist?
No.
Is that what you need?
No,
Then,
no, not at all. But we're not going to agree that family separation policies is a racist policy. That's your worldview. I get it. I don't agree with it. You're not going to make me agree with it. You calling him a racist. But to the point of the Southern Poverty Law Center, since we're on the discussion of them, they also say that Louis Farrakhan is an anti-Semite. Does everyone on the panel agree with the Southern Poverty Law Center that Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam are anti-Semite and anti-Semitic organizations?
so this
Does
is
everybody
where we
agree
shift
with
the
that?
conversation.
It's not a shutting down the conversation.
This is the let's talk about Hunter Biden. Version.
I didn't get an answer.
Yeah, it is.
Does everyone agree that this is anti-Semite?
This isn't what we're talking. We're talking about Stephen Miller,
But
correct?
does everyone? Well,
Are
we
we
also
talking
talking about an article that was in the Southern Poverty Law
again.
Do you have 900
So I'm
emails
saying-
from him saying that stuff?
No.
So again, y'all.
But
So
the
let
Southern
me
Poverty Law Center
let
says
me
that he's
help.
not Semite. I get
Racist
that your
and
community community don't want to talk about
not your
that.
community. Is it not yours?
Anti-Semite. I can criticize.
Here's the deal, y'all.
You put that case on
Here's the
strong.
deal.
You need to be held
Come to me, y'all. Here's the deal.
If you can
Here's
produce
the deal.
900 emails,
Guys, here's the deal. Come to me, please. Come to
SPLC
me.
also produced
Here's the
many
deal,
things
y'all.
that
Here's the deal for
Louis
everybody
said.
who's watching, okay? Game, recognize game. If you need to deflect, you deflect as fast as possible. When you can't defend the actual topic.
Which is why?
Now, as somebody who has been in television for quite some time, I've used the trick, so I know what Melik is trying to do. He's tried it all day. The bottom line is this here. He's afraid to criticize Stephen Miller.
Because of what?
Because I don't know whether he wants to hurt his feelings.
I don't know.
But the reality is this here. If you can't call it what it is, then you're afraid to call it what it is. And the bottom line is this here. We said it last week that Stephen Miller looked up to Richard Spencer, who's a racist, a virulent racist. You have 900 emails.
Miller has condemned
You have
that.
900 emails, okay, showing this as well. You have an administration that's had many other people who have been in it with ties to white nationalists, white supremacists, and folks they've been forced out after they've been exposed. So you have to ask the question, what makes Trump so attractive to like-minded people? This is just part one of the Southern Poverty Law Center's expose on Stephen Miller. There will be more, and we'll have it for you. Going to break right now. We'll be back. Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Break.
Knowledge is power, and power is the key to changing things. Writer Jill Nelson.
Claflin University's sweater today. Claflin, their new president. They sent me this gear. Come to me, please. So you see me rocking the Claflin sweatshirt. I was there on their campus when Hillary Clinton was there in 2015 for a town hall there, located in Orangeburg, South Carolina. Founded in 1869. Notable graduates: Ernest A. Finney Jr., Cecil Williams, Leo Twiggs, Gloria Blackwell, and more. If you want to support Claflin, go to claflin.edu. It's claflin.edu. And here's something else that's important. When you look at all of the HBCUs in America, Claflin has the highest giving of any HBCU. More than 50% of their graduates give back to the university. That should be every HBCU. That's one of the reasons why, of course, we have HBCU Giving Day. So if you want to support Claflin, go to claflin.edu. Speaking of HBCUs, tomorrow in Annapolis, Maryland, at the state capitol in Maryland, there's going to be a rally at 1 p.m. in support of Maryland's 4 HBCUs. Faculty representatives from the 4 Maryland HBCUs, Morgan State University, Coppin State University, University of Maryland Eastern Shore, and Bowie State are going to be involved in this rally to draw attention to the ongoing lawsuit against inequality at HBCUs. Now, here's the deal. The state was sued based upon duplication of programs. What happened was in the 70s, the HBCUs came up with creative majors that were attracting white students and non-black students. And so their numbers began to increase. Well, the predominantly white institutions in Maryland saw that, duplicated those programs, and what happened? Those students left the HBCUs, went to the predominantly white institutions. They sued. A federal judge ruled that it was indeed happening, called it de jure segregation, and called for the sides to mediate. They've been trying to mediate for almost 5 or 6 years. And so the state initially tried to offer $100 million under a Democratic governor. Now you have Larry Hogan, Republican, trying to say, look, his final line in the sand, red line, is $200 million. In the testimony during the trial said the HBCU should be given about $1 billion. The large for the 4 universities said, you know what? We'll settle for $577 million. Hogan only wants to offer $200 million. I was one of the folks who actually was calling for this rally. It made no sense to me, Jason, that in 13 years there was not a rally whatsoever. I put in calls to the Divine Nine fraternities and sororities, talked to the head of the Maryland Black Caucus, and then they said, hey, we agree. And so they're putting this together. Also, NAACP, Urban League, Reverend Sharpness Groups, and others also said they would be involved. Bottom line is, you need external pressure to put pressure on the inside. And the reality is, if Hogan doesn't agree to these terms, I think the Maryland legislature, when they meet in January, a bill is already ready to award those schools $577 million. The money should come out of the budget. Maryland must stand up. And this is where black folks in Maryland need to be challenging the Democratic Party in Maryland. And also challenging to that governor, who a lot of black folks in Maryland voted for, to say, you need to be paying up these damn HBCUs, as well as that damn black lieutenant governor in Maryland, okay, who had the audacity to tell me when I was at an event at National Harbor, I didn't know the facts of the case. No, I know the damn facts. And by the way, you still have refused to come on this show, Rutherford. But it's real interesting because he wants to run for governor. A Howard University graduate not standing up for those HBCUs.
Right. You know, I think that the only way these things happen is grassroots pressure. Politicians speak in a couple languages, but the main thing is votes and bad press. And I think if some of these people in the Democratic Party don't step up, we need to really, really put some pressure, say what they're not doing, and have people ready to go in and primary them next time around. And I think that they will acquiesce to what they need to be doing for black education in the state.
Rob, the federal judge found de jure segregation and made it clear now on the part about, she did say that the HBCUs were being properly funded in Maryland. Now, Maryland's tried to hang their hat on that, as opposed to ignoring the other half of the ruling.
Right.
But the other half of the ruling says duplication of programs hurt HBCUs.
Yep. Well, there are three ways to pressure politicians. Jason mentioned two: bad press. The other one is just pure pressure and votes. But the other way is also high pressure. Look, there's a lot of money and contributions that are given through black folks too. And so I like to say, as a community, we're not poor. Sometimes we're poorly organized. And so it comes to doing this, do it from the grassroots level, but do it in actually contributions too, because I am sure if you look back on the contributions of a lot of these Democratic legislators, that they've gotten a lot of money from really high prominent African Americans here. So they need to put pressure in every single way, and with votes, because this is what matters. Like, we expect, without black people, there is no Democratic Party. Seriously, if our numbers went down by like 30%, Democrats would lose almost every national election.
30? No, you can go down by 10%.
Yeah.
Kelly, go ahead, Kelly.
No, I'm saying if 60%, 30% went for Republicans, they'd be over.
No. 10%.
You're right.
Yeah.
Bruh.
It'd be over.
Yeah.
Kelly.
No, your point about there not being rallies, were you saying no rallies being backed or no rallies at all?
No. There's been not a single mass protest
in
Maryland.
Rallies.
I'm talking about at the state capitol,
yes,
the legislature.
I was there.
I talked to, talking to the Maryland Black Caucus and talking to those HBCUs, what they have been saying, we have been begging people to mobilize, to put pressure on this governor to do this. And what they've said is it's not happening. Now, the Black Caucus has been doing some things in the past, but
like as of this year, I can't tell you if there's been rallies. I'm saying in years past, I have attended those rallies.
Regarding this lawsuit.
Yes, regarding this lawsuit.
Right. Well, according to the Black Caucus and folks with those universities, they were like, we've been begging people, and I've been saying...
It may not have been official, but I was there as a Bowie State grad. I'm sorry, I was a Bowie State student at the time, and we had mobilized within the students to go to Annapolis. So we were there. Whether it was backed or not, that's the other question.
And the thing is, what I keep saying is too many black people in Maryland.
Oh, absolutely.
And when I say the Divine Nine, like tomorrow, I better be seeing colors from every fraternity and sorority out there, and it doesn't matter if you went to a HBCU.
No, it doesn't.
The fact of the matter is, they proved their case. The Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights under law, their lawyers are leading this legal team. They proved this case. And Maryland has been, basically for 3 years, Maryland didn't do jack.
Nothing.
In mediation.
Nothing.
The judge even slammed them for saying your refusal to even cooperate has been a waste of time. And so so now another federal court could still rule because Maryland appealed the decision. The judge said go to mediation. And so this is the case here. Bottom line is this here. If Hogan doesn't move and these judges rule properly, the pressure should be, the Maryland legislature meets for 90 days every year, beginning of January.
Yes, until April.
This should be the #1 priority of anybody black in Maryland and say, shut it down until the bill gets passed.
No, absolutely. And I was at some of the testimony hearings when it was in federal court in Baltimore, and the judge, you could see on her face, like, she was fed up. Everybody there was fed up because even during those hearings, the case was clear. Even from Maryland's side, like, even their experts were like, we got nothing. Like you right. So what's the issue here? So for Maryland to be this hard pressed to not do the right thing, it's insulting, and it doesn't do anybody any good to have 4 of your institutions in one state not doing nearly as well as your other institutions. Because it's not like everybody can go to University of Maryland. It's not like every single person could go to Towson. Bowie State is the oldest HBCU in the state, and it's one of the best schools in the state, in the country. It's listed.
But everybody don't need to go. That is the point of having creative programs to attract folks to the schools, and these HBCUs got creative, and the predominantly white schools saw it, said, oh, we're going to have the exact same major. They got salty. And what happened? Resources came with it. All those things came with it, Melody.
Yeah, I think that, and I first heard about the case. First time I heard about it, literally, was probably the early part of the year. I literally didn't know anything about the case, and
That's
I'm
why
all
you should have been watching TV One.
I'm glad.
Have you watched my show on TV One, you would know about it 4 years ago.
Well, that's
actually
true.
You would have known about it 6 years ago.
Well, I didn't, but here we are.
So,
and
so the lesson there is
everybody watch Roland.
Black News.
Yeah, watch Roland.
No.
Not necessarily Black News.
But there's no other Black News. This is it. So when you say watch Roland, that means watch Black News.
Watch Roland. Then.
There's nothing else.
But I'm all for
HBCUs
getting. Oh, Roland, we're not arguing about
that. No. I'm saying all this. Facts are facts.
But yes, everyone, please watch Roland. And well, he's the Black News.
You're watching Roland right now.
Well, yes, and continue to watch and support Roland. But
stay black, Malik. Stay black.
Stay black. Absolutely.
Oh my God.
But I think that HBCUs should be able to get all of the funding that it needs. The fact that this has been circulating in the courts for as long as it has, 13 years, is very unfortunate. I agree with the rest of you on what needs to happen as far as a pressure campaign. It is, to me, and I kind of felt this way, when we were talking about the Kwesi Mfume and how much support he got within the state from black people. So this is another example of that. They like to talk about, Prince George's County being the wealthiest, wealthiest county for blacks in the nation. We'll put some of that money into action.
Well, first of all, that's
I know.
That's even a BS statement. They simply base it upon home prices.
Roland, let them be great.
No, because see, because see, I understand.
Point.
Because what happened was when the home foreclosure crisis hit, a bunch of them houses got foreclosed on, which meant your ass wasn't wealthy, which meant your ass had a bunch of big ass houses that you couldn't actually afford.
That's what
that's all I'm saying. But that's
and subprime loans and
but I understand that. But my whole point is,
but it's a lot of
my whole point is, when you lose a whole bunch of them damn homes, your ass was never wealthy.
No, I agree.
But it's a lot of wealth in Prince George's County, black wealth in Prince George's County.
There's more
in Maryland
around the country.
Right. I'm just saying.
It's all
I'm just saying. It's some phrases I don't use, but that's fine. Let me do this here, folks, real quick. Human remains have been found in Alabama during the search for 5-year-old Taylor Williams, who vanished from a home in Jacksonville last week. Officials with the Demopolis Police Department said remains were found Tuesday while crews were searching in a wooded area between the cities of Linden and Demopolis, Alabama. The remains have not been identified, but Jacksonville Sheriff Mike Williams said during a news conference Monday that officers had been deployed to Demopolis, Alabama, west of Montgomery. And so we'll certainly update. And here's an update actually on the case. That sheriff said today that the girl's mother, Breonna Williams, has been arrested for felony child neglect and for giving false information to police. Williams was admitted to Jacksonville Area Hospital after an apparent overdose earlier in the day. Man, 5-year-old girl. I mean, that is just sad news there. And so, man, we really hate to hear that, but that's the case there. Let me also give you this. There's a big gala happening tonight in Montgomery, Alabama, to celebrate its first black mayor. Well, today, of course, Stephen Reed was sworn in, the first black mayor in the history of Montgomery, Alabama. Go to my iPad, please.
Repeat after me. I give your name.
Stephen Lewis Reed,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and will obey the laws
and will obey the laws
of the United States
of the United States
and of the state of Alabama.
and of the state of Alabama,
That I will,
in all respects,
observe the provisions of the ordinances of the city of Montgomery.
observe the provisions and the ordinances of the city of Montgomery,
And I will faithfully discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office
of the office
of mayor.
of mayor.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
So big congrats to Stephen Reed, first black mayor, and was crazy. This is a city, it's 63% black.
Yeah, I was, wow. When you said that, I said, wow.
And first black mayor. Also, shout out today to my nephew Chris. Today is his birthday, November 12th. He gets a shout out. That's right. That's my man right now. How old is Chris? What is he, 12, 13? Something like that. Anyway, one of them damn ages. It don't matter. One of them damn ages. It's irrelevant. But again, it's just, what? It's whatever. I ain't sitting wasting my time trying to remember. 12, 13, the same.
It's not Roland.
It's the same. First of all, which one you think he want? Remember the right number or his ass getting a shout out? I thought so.
He want a gift.
He wants a shout out. That's his mom and daddy job. That's his, because his daddy's birthday tomorrow and my birthday Thursday. And so yeah, I told his wife to hold out and have a baby on my birthday. She didn't want to do that. That's what she should have done.
You were really owed a gift, right?
See, we didn't guarantee the gift. Yeah. You didn't guarantee the gift. See, that's how it works. All right, y'all. I got to go. Don't forget, you want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered, go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar you give goes to support this show. Tomorrow, we will be in Annapolis, Maryland, live streaming the rally from the state capitol. This is why we do this. And let me tell y'all right now, no other black website or black network will be there, which is why y'all got to support what we do. And so all these folks run around talking about blackity black. They run a whole bunch of entertainment bullshit, but they won't be there fighting for HBCUs. Yeah, I said it. And so you need to be following the folks who give a damn about you and not what in the hell Kanye or Drake or one of them damn Kardashians is doing. No, we don't focus on none of that bullshit. We talk about black news here, stuff that matters. And so we must understand that and support it. And so that's why we want you to support us. You can, if you're all the folks you're watching on YouTube right now, you can give directly on YouTube, or you can go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. We can give via Cash App, PayPal, Square. Our goal is to have 20,000 followers give in the course of a year, about $50 for the year. That's $4.19 a month, 13 cents a day. And again, we cover something that matters to us. And so we'll be at that rally tomorrow in Maryland, live streaming it from beginning to end. And then we'll be live tomorrow night right here. Then, of course, next week we'll be live from Atlanta for the Democratic debate taking place at Tyler Perry Studios on November 20th. This is why we do this. We are black, we're independent, and don't nobody else tell us what to do. Why? Because in the words of Tyler Perry, own your shit. And I do. And that's why it matters for us. I got to go. Holla! You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.
Hey everybody, this is Sherry Shepherd. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered, and while he's doing Unfiltered, I'm practicing the wobble. Yes, I am. Because Roland Martin's the one, he will do it backwards, he will do it on the side. He messes everybody up when he gets into the wobble, because he doesn't know how to do it, so he does it backwards. And it just messes me up every single time. So I'm working on it. I got it. You got Roland Martin.
Hi, my name is LaToya Luckett, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Mac Wiles, and you are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
What's up, y'all? It's Ryan Destiny, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
What up, Lana Well, and you are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Hey fam, want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? The blackest show on all of digital, cable, and broadcast. Check out our audio podcast. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Press play.